So what are the best strategies to prepare for the SAT and or the ACT? Welcome to another edition of FAQ Us Friday, Frequently Asked Questions Friday. Andy Lockwood here from Lockwood College Prep. If you've been watching these, you want to make sure you subscribe and you'll never miss out on these tips, even if you're listening to them. We have this going out on our podcast too. So let me save you some time and some emotional energy here and talk to you a little bit about how to streamline and effectively prepare for either the SAT or the ACT. So the first thing is to understand that colleges are agnostic. They will accept either the SAT or the ACT. By the way, you might be wondering, what about test optional? I'll make some comments about that at the end. Assuming you're taking the SAT or the ACT, which I recommend, the first thing you should do is take a diagnostic to figure out which test is best. That could be either done as a full-blown timed SAT and also a full-blown timed ACT, or you could take some sort of hybrid. We offer that at our firm. Our head tutor, Marissa, has put together a hybrid SAT and ACT. And depending on when you're watching or listening to this, the formats may have changed, so you may not be able to do that, but either way, figure out which one is best first and then devote all of your time and effort to getting that one test as high as possible. Very few, if any, colleges prefer one over the other. That used to be a thing. That is no longer the thing. All right. The second tip is sort of a Captain Obvious one, but you've got to start early. Not too early. You know, there's a lot of tutoring centers in Queens and Long Island where our office is that have kids prepping for these tests from like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade on. That's a little on the early side, and I don't think they end up doing any better than kids who start when we recommend, which is the summer in between 10th and 11th grades. That's really the best time to start. If you've had Algebra 2 or you're about to take Algebra 2, you're going to have taken all the math that is required for the SAT and the ACT, and that should be a good time to start. Now, you've got to not just start early, but you've got to start often. And I'm reminded about my daughter, Lizzie, who's now a senior in college as I record this. When she was preparing for the SAT, I guess that's about 6 years ago, she took so many practice tests that she started seeing the same questions. Maybe the variables were swapped out, but she started seeing the same ones over and over again. And once she was able to do that and know that she had solved those, she was able to feel very confident and move quickly through the exam and pick up points that she needed to get the score that she was gunning for, which she was ultimately able to get. So practicing often as well as early are important tips. And then, of course, working with someone who is knowledgeable and able to correct your mistakes, like a coach, like a tutor, right? So I mentioned we offer tutoring wherever you are. There's probably qualified tutors in your area too. I'm biased. I think ours are the best, but it's like playing a sport. If you just try to teach yourself how to hit a forehand in tennis or to hit a driver in golf, you might think you're doing something along the lines of, hitting the ball properly, but a trained observer can correct you of the mistakes that you're not even aware that you are making. So when it comes to SAT and ACT, I think the best possible scenario is to have someone who is there to teach you the least amount of content possible and focus more so on the strategies so that you can spend your time, because the best and the highest and best use of your time is to just concentrate on the actual stuff that's going to be tested on the exam, not to learn a whole semester's worth of Algebra 2 or something along those lines. A lot of high school teachers who go into tutoring will teach to the content, not to the exam, whereas what we do at Lockwood College Prep is teach to the strategies, spending way more time on the stuff that's going to get you, the highest scores that you can possibly get so you can crush your SAT or ACT. All right, final comment on test optional. I should do a whole nother video just on this. Most colleges still allow you to submit your applications without your test scores as of the time I'm recording this, which is October of 2024. But applying test optional is not the same thing as getting accepted test optional. And over the summer of 2024, a whole bunch of colleges, not just Ivies, but particularly Ivies, announced that they were abandoning their test optional applications and now are requiring test scores. And the reason for that is because there's so much rampant grade inflation from coast to coast in high schools that it makes it very difficult to ascertain, if you're an admissions officer, whether someone is qualified to be able to do the academic workload at that particular college. Because everybody has a 93 or a 96 average. There are no more C's, by the way. Yesterday's C is today's 84. So although they're not perfect, the standardized test scores are a lot more accurate than academic performance when it comes to evaluating whether you're able to succeed academically at a particular college. So your best bet is to get your scores as high as possible, and then on a case-by-case, school-by-school, college-by-college basis, decide whether or not to submit your SAT score or your ACT score. Bearing in mind, they're also going to be looking at your GPA, but also your rigor, how many hard classes you took, and then another 20-ish factors. So the scores are important. And if you can get your scores at the right level, you're going to have an advantage over someone who has the same grades and extracurriculars and all that, who does not submit their SAT or ACT scores. They are important and they are instructive. I hope you're finding these valuable, whether you're watching or listening or whatever. Don't miss out. Subscribe, and you will never miss out on this valuable information that you're not getting from your guidance counselors or anywhere else. Andy Lockwood, Lockwood College Prep. Thanks for watching and listening. Talk to you soon.